Hello fellow YouTubers, it's me Tom Versal here and welcome to the Music Corner. Today we're going to be continuing our reviews into Madness's discography and we're currently up to their third album, which is called Seven. Now, Seven is an album for me that is just incredible, amazing and highly underrated. I mean, the album cover could be as iconic as One Step Beyond because of the sort of white background and all the band there, and it's one of those where it's really good to get this one signed because they can sign in between the arms and stuff. Seen that happen a few times. It's really good. But yeah, so without further ado, let's just get into it. The review of Madness's third album, Seven. Okay, just sorry for the lighting change there. Some background on this album. This is Madness's third album. They released their first album in 1979, and then they released an EP called Work, Rest and Play, which the first album was sort of just their live set list. They didn't really add any new tracks. They did a few covers on there, a few sort of more instrumental sounding songs, like Nightboat to Cairo is a song with lyrics, but it's mostly instrumental. Same for Tarzan's Nuts. And then their EP sort of segued them into more nuttier sounds with their second album, Absolutely, which is just really fast and nutty and crazy sounding. This is similar, Seven, to the EP Work, Rest and Play. I mean, it's a lot bigger, it's obviously a lot better than that, but it segues them into the darker tone, which you probably wouldn't get from the cover, but this is darker than their previous efforts, and not as dark as what they would later go on to do, but this sort of segues their nutty sound into dark. So you've got songs on here that are slower than on Absolutely, while still being nutty, but have more darker meanings, more darker undertones and stuff, which is just great because that makes it like transition into their next album, The Rise and Fall, which is just a masterpiece. Transitions from Absolutely and into The Rise and Fall very well. So yeah, this album was released in 1981. I couldn't imagine listening to it back then, 1981. Their minds must have been blown. It sounds as fresh today as it did back then, as do basically all of Madness's albums. But yeah, it got to number 5 in the UK charts, didn't do as well as Absolutely or One Step Beyond. The music industry was moving more towards new wave, and people were sort of getting sick of Madness, and Specials. Specials were always at number 1 in the UK, Madness were always at number 2. And Two Tone had basically died at this point, sadly. Not entirely, there were still its fans, they had MIS and stuff, but this album got to number 5, which is still astonishingly well, don't get me wrong. Number 5 is amazing, but it didn't get to number 2, which One Step Beyond and Absolutely both got to number 2. So the personnel on this album is the exact same. This is Madness, the whole band here. You've got Kicks on saxophones, and then Bedders on bass, Chas Smash on vocals, backing vocals, and trumpet and other such things. It says it all on the back, actually. Mike Barzo on keyboards and organs and stuff like that. Suggs on vocals, and I think he has a percussion, so he has a drum on Mrs. Hutchinson, but I don't know if that's credited. No, it isn't. Critty Boy on guitars, and I think there's a sitar on this. Yeah, there is, yeah. And Woody on drums and other percussion. Maybe Suggs doesn't have the percussion because Woody does, but when they play some songs live, Suggs might do the percussion. But yeah, this is the whole band. Pure. It's as pure as One Step Beyond, and Absolutely with the whole band. Let's just get into the track by track sort of thing that I do. First off, this album has around 12 songs, I believe. 13, I think it has 13 songs, yeah. And the opening song is Cardiac Arrest, which was a single off the album, the single actually got banned by the BBC because it's a dark song for a single, which is again Madness trying to transition into darkness, which they already experimented with in Absolutely, with songs like Shadow of Fear, Embarrassment, and Take It or Leave It. But this song doesn't sound dark, but it's about a man dying of a heart attack and how the family will need him, but it's dying. It's a dark song lyrically, but if you listen to it, it doesn't sound like that other than the intro, like dun 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 dun, like a heartbeat. The second track is Shut Up, which is another single, didn't get banned. This is just about robbery. It's just about a theft and stuff. I don't know why the title's called Shut Up, but it's a great track. You know, I'm sick of hearing all of Madness's singles, and I'm more of a album track guy myself. For every band, basically. I mean, that's not intentional, but it just seems every band experiments more with album tracks, and they don't get as old. But yeah, Shut Up is a great one. They always really play it live. There's a great guitar solo in it from Chrissy Boy, which he rarely gets to do, but he's good at it. The next song is Sign of the Times. This is the first album track solely, and I've wrote some notes on it. It is nutty. It sounds nutty, but obviously with them trying to go into a darker route, which you're gonna hear me say a lot, does have darker tones, but not the most dark song on the album, because it's still nutty. It's still crazy sounding. The chorus is more melancholic and it's really good. Then it moves on to the song Missing You. There's not much to say for the song Missing You, but it's really powerful. Suggs' singing on this song is really powerful. Missing you when I'm away. And the saxophone by Kix on Missing You is just a brilliant, he's amazing at it. Works perfectly. And the live rendition of this song on, you can find it on YouTube. The 80s one is really good. The 81 tour that they did. The album tour for this. Moving on to Mrs. Hutchinson. Mrs. Hutchinson actually sounds really, really happy, but it isn't. It's critical of sort of the NHS in a way, and it's about one of the members of Madness. I forgot who, but I believe it was Chrissy Boy. His mother was dying, and the hospital weren't really helping, and I think she actually did die in the end, bless. I think it's Chrissy Boy. If it's not, it doesn't matter. It applies to one of the members of Madness. And yeah, this song just criticises her dying, and, well, not her dying, but how the hospital weren't really helping too much. And it's quite a sad, dark song. There's a demo of it. I don't know if the demo's on YouTube, but the demo's just doesn't sound as good because it's got so much more lyrics. Suggs always sings on that version, but I like it on this one where it's sort of call and response. Oh, Mrs. Hutchinson, da-da-da-da-da-da. It's really good. And then the closer of side one is just full on sort of dark song, you know. Quite a dark song. Just be right back just a second. Alright, anyway, Tomorrow's Dream is about animal abuse, sort of more in the circus, how they mistreat animals, like put them in a cage and use laser beams, like laser pointers to get them to do stuff and things like that. It is a very horrifying song to listen to, in my opinion. Most people might just listen to it and think, oh yeah, it's just a more sinister sounding Madness song. There's nothing really to it, but it is very dark sounding. They use the saxophone and the instruments in the song quite smartly and really well, to be honest. They use the saxophone and the trumpets and stuff to mimic animals screaming and animals wailing, and Suggs is singing just in the perspective of like an animal in the circus, just sad in a cage. The cage is my home, this cage is my home, and also alone am I. The lyrics are brilliant. On every song on this album, the lyrics are brilliant, even the singles. So yeah, that closes side one. Moving on to side two, it starts with another single, Grey Day. Grey Day is a brilliant single. The B-side Memories is also a great one. But you know what? I'm sick of hearing it. They play it a lot, and also I've heard it so much. It's on. I mean, I know you probably can't see the entire thing, but the amount of Madness singles collections you got, like Full House and Total Madness, The Very Best of Madness, The Business, It's Madness, Heavy Heavy Hits, Grey Day is always on there. I know it's gonna be. As is Cardiac Arrest and Shut Up, they're always on there, so I'm sick of hearing them too. The thing is, a Grey Day, it's probably the slowest, darkest, I don't say it a lot, but it is the darkest single that Madness have done. Because their next album, The Rise and Fall, is full on dark. Like, every song is just sort of depressing sounding except Our House. But that's the thing, the singles they were putting out when that album came out weren't even on the album, and it was stuff like Driving in My Car and House of Fun, just gimmicky sort of tunes that are just made to make people think that they're nutty in a way. It's like trying too hard to be nutty at that point. But anyway, Grey Day is about depression, and it's about not being able to do anything. You wake up, you're depressed, you can't do anything, you're just bored, sad. And yeah, you can obviously tell from the title, Grey Day, it's obviously going to be about depression of some sort. So that's the back. I don't know if I've shown it yet. But yeah, it's an alright song. The live versions go on for ages though. But yeah. Next up, Paquet Mac, which is one of my favourite tracks on the album. It's about buying condoms in men's toilets. And yep. It's just similar to House of Fun in how it's about buying condoms, but obviously it's in a different setting, men's toilets instead of like pharmacy. But it is a really good song. It doesn't even like, it's not really too dark. I know I've said dark a lot in this video. You can take a shot every time I say dark, you'll be dead in the first 2 minutes. But seriously, this song isn't as dark as other tracks on here, not even as dark as Grey Day, which is a single. But it carries on with the sort of nutty sound that you'd get off Absolutely, whilst adding some sadder sounding chords. I don't know if it's in a minor key, but it sounds sadder, even though it's not. It's fast, it's upbeat sounding, it's about buying condoms. What more could you want from a Madness song? Next up, Promises, Promises. This one's a really good one to dance to, I can imagine. I've not done it myself, but it's a really repetitive song in that it only has a verse and a chorus, I believe, and it just repeats those two over and over. It's more the instrumental aspect of this song is the perfect bit of it. There's nothing up with it in general. I don't have much to say for Promises, Promises, but don't know the meaning of it either. But it is just a class, amazing song. And then we fall down to probably one of my least favourite Madness songs of all time. On this perfect album, if this song wasn't on this album, this would be a perfect Madness album. This and Absolutely and Rise and Fall, One Step Beyond, just perfect albums. But you get the first song that, out of One Step Beyond has like no bad songs, Absolutely has no bad songs, Seven has one, and that is Benny Bullfrog. I can't stand Benny Bullfrog. It's like they're trying to be nutty. And Lee Thompson sings on it. That's not why I don't like it. I mean, he sang on Razor Blade Alley. He sang on, what's it called? Land of Hope and Glory. Yeah, it's not because Lee Thompson sings on it. I know Lee Thompson has a weird singing style. I've got the album Crunch or The Nutty Boys. I forget if it's the band's called Crunch or The Nutty Boys. But I'll get to reviewing it someday. But I know Lee Thompson's singing style's weird, but that is not why I hate this song. I just hate how it sounds not too good instrumentally. The lyrics are just bad in my opinion. Maybe there's some hidden meaning, but I just don't like it. I don't like how he burps all the time. There's so much burping in the song, probably to mock a frog, but That's not a good song. It's a throwaway track. They should have left it off the album. Or they should have put a B-side. If Memories was on the album, that's a really dark, sad song. That would have fit the album perfectly and segued them into Rise and Fall. But no. Benny Bullfrog. Terrible song. Then if they left it off, it would have made both of the sides even as well. There'd been 6 songs aside. But no. Anyway, next song though is one of Madness's best songs of all time, in my opinion. When Dawn Arrives. This song, When Dawn Arrives, is just an amazing song. Every time I hear it, I get that feeling of just bliss. Honestly, it's... If I've got my playlist on shuffle, my Madness playlist on shuffle, and that's just every song that they've ever done, and When Dawn Arrives comes on, I feel lucky, because this song is just brilliant. They ought to play it live. I love it. There's not too much to say other than the instruments are brilliant. Again, like I've said for most songs on here, it is darker, it's more depressing sounding, but it is amazing. Don't get me wrong. When Dawn Arrives. And then we get an instrumental, which is not weird, but like weird that they put it so late in the album. Madness have had instrumentals on most of their early albums. I think their first 4 albums have instrumentals. I don't remember if Thingy does. Yeah, what is it? Walking with Mr. Wheeze is an instrumental, but that's a B-side, I think. But anyway, we'll talk about that when we get into the Rise and Fall. The Opium Eaters. This is like sort of a piano solo, and sorry to say, but for a new fan, it sounds like fucking Zombies in Spaceland on Infinite Warfare. And I don't like Infinite Warfare, don't get me wrong, I'm not like a massive gamer that plays Infinite Warfare like an annoying little kid, but it does remind me of that. It's probably like some sort of minor chord scale that they're using. It's the exact same. And obviously Madness came way before that, but anyway, it is an amazing instrumental, very, very, very atmospheric. You can hear crickets and chirping and just wind and stuff like you're in a field. It's a great one to listen to whilst driving at night. I don't drive, but I mean, as a passenger, I could tell you, if you want a good song to listen to at night time in a car, Opium Eaters is a great one. It is a great one. It's Mike Barzun at his best. Anyway, the next song is the album closer, and just like When Dawn Arrives, it's one of their best. Day on the Town. Day on the Town is criticising London. I think, I don't really know what it's about exactly, but it does sort of what the Rise and Fall does in talking about their childhood places that they used to go to and how it's sort of bad now, like Primrose Hill, I think, and the Rise and Fall, its song itself is about Liverpool turning to shit. This song's sort of like that, but for London. They talk a lot about crime and riots and stuff, but it doesn't sound too much like it. You could tell it's a depressing, dark song, but it's still got a nutty sound that Madness are famous for. And yeah, it was a really, really good song. So overall, I've finished talking about every track. Overall, this album is almost perfect. If it weren't for Benny Bullfrog, it'd be like perfect album. But I would still say it's a perfect album. If you want to listen to it, I recommend it. Most people probably would say Benny Bullfrog is okay, and I admire it for being different. No other band would put out something like that. It's just Madness being Madness. They do weird stuff like that. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But yeah, this is a solid album. Every album Madness did, in like, not Keep Moving. Keep Moving's not my favourite, but first 4 albums Madness did, and Mad Not Mad, and Keep Moving to an extent, they're all just amazing albums. They're all amazing, and this is one of them. This could be interchangeable for my favourite any day. Like, this and Absolutely are just classic, brilliant, perfect albums. There's only one bad song on here, but you can just say it's just madness being madness, as I said, I'm still going to say this, like Absolutely and like One Step Beyond, is a perfect album. Definitely deserved that number 5 that it got in the UK charts. I would have probably said it should have got higher, but I know it depends on sales. But yeah, really recommend this album. Mine's a German import, cost me £5, but on the thing they said £13. But yeah, great album. It's a nice, solid transition too. If you're listening to Absolutely, if you're listening to the discography, going from Absolutely straight into Rise and Fall can be a bit jarring because Absolutely is so fast and so nutty and crazy and wacky. The Rise and Fall's really serious and dark, and this allows a nice way to transition from the nuttiness into the darkness. And yeah, iconic. Thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed. Tell me your thoughts on the album in the comments below, and stay epic.